I would have just carried on that trajectory.
Mhm.
But I'll just get on to how I got into property.
Yeah, sure.
The short version was that I lived in Edinburgh with Alex for 15 years. And then Alex moved away to go to work in Birmingham. And
Yeah.
I thought, oh, well, I'm not tied with Edinburgh now. And I would love to move back to England. And I moved. And also I would be closer to Alex because he's in Birmingham.
He's in Birmingham,
And I moved to Bristol, which I thought was, where can you move after Edinburgh? That's also a beautiful city with lots going on. And I thought Bristol. And I was living in Bristol. I was working in banking. I was doing okay financially. But I had a moment. And I hear a lot of people on your podcast, Alex, saying that they had this moment where they realized that what they were doing wasn't working.
Yeah.
And my moment was that my mum got ill.
Oh.
And one morning she called me, and I was on the phone to her. She called me. I was getting ready for work in my flat, and I lived walking distance to the bank. I lived right on the harbour side in Bristol, and the bank was also in this big square on the harbour side. It was only like a 10-minute walk, if that. And I had a lovely place overlooking the harbour. I love being by the water, so I was very happy there. She called me, and I did not give her time. I was sort of really in a hurry to get her off the phone, and with a bit of irritation, a bit of concern about, what was I concerned about? Getting to work on time, the presentation I was making that day, and all sorts of other things. And so I was like not giving her time, space, energy.
Yeah.
You could feel it through the phone because she was saying, oh, sorry to bother you. Oh, I didn't mean to call you. Of course, you're getting ready for work. Anyway, so I went off to work, and I was sitting at my desk in the afternoon looking out the window because I'm right on the harbour. And it just hit me like a punch in the belly. It was just with that force. I could just suddenly see, oh my gosh. I was sort of sitting there patting myself on the back saying, oh, your presentation went well. That was great engagement you got. I think that, this went really well for you. And then I thought, oh, but what about Mom? Oh my gosh. And then it just came to me with such clarity. So there she was, waking up in the morning, not feeling well, reaching out to somebody to get that connection. Everything's going to be okay, Mom. You're going to be okay. Maybe she was just feeling a bit scared. But I wasn't there for her. And what I realized in that moment was the bank's not that important.
Yeah.
If I didn't turn up to the bank that day or any other day, it would just carry on as normal. But my mum is really important to me. She only has 2 daughters. I'm the eldest. And also, who do I want to be? Who do I say I am? Am I somebody who cares for my family? But in practice, how do I actually behave? And so I think it's a situation that a lot of people are in, because you need to work to make a living. But I thought there must be another way. There must be other ways that people do things whereby you don't go to work. And of course, we know that exists. I knew that existed, but I didn't think I had the capabilities to be able to run a business. But I was so fired up in my belly. I just had this urgency to change and to be able to be more flexible, so that I could go to Birmingham for 3 months to be with Mum if I wanted, or she could come to us. I just realized that I was actually in a cage. And I was making good money, but I didn't have time to spend. To keep up a lifestyle that I only needed because I was going to work in Bristol. So I just knew that something had to change. And when I started going into my mind thinking, how do people do this? How could normal people, as I saw it, do it? Not special people like the business people that we see are successful. And that's when it came to me, Alex, property. We all know normal people who've started investing in property, become very successful, sometimes accidentally. So I thought, oh, well, if I could do it with a bit of intention, maybe I could do it, on purpose.
Yeah.
So I started going to all these property events. You've probably been to some of them yourself.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by what people were doing. I could not believe my ears, eyes. And of course, some of the strategies that they were doing required hundreds of thousands of pounds or tens of thousands of pounds, big developments, new builds, even some of the bigger conversions. But there were also people there who were starting off with very little, who were like me, and were doing strategies like rent to rent and deal sourcing and other strategies where you don't need as much money. And I thought, oh my goodness, these seem like normal people. They had normal jobs, they had a bit of savings, they started this up, that now they're working full time, now they're doing developments. I thought, oh, maybe I can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where it all started.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing story. It's it's one of those, like you say, at some point, for people to make a change in the trajectory of their journey, there tends to be, in most cases, some moment of either intuition or crisis or something that happens to actually change the momentum of where they are going. And for you, your mom was part of that as well, to make you realize that actually there is something else out there that where life can take you. So I guess now going into property, that's like the entrepreneurship side of things, and that can tend to be quite different to the normal day-to-day job where it's 9 to 5 and it's all certain, you've got guaranteed income and all of that. So I guess initially, did you sort of do it part-time as you build yourself up to eventually going into it full-time?
Yeah, well, that would have been a sensible thing to do, but my mind was totally property. Everything I thought about was property. I would go to work and it was so hard to concentrate because I would be thinking about property all the time. I would be listening to property podcasts in my lunch hour. I was so organized. I had these lists in apps on my phone of what I needed to do each lunch hour, as well, or after work or before work. And I had it in my head that this was what needed to happen. And also I think my age had something to do with it. I did not have time to waste. I thought, I've wasted so many decades. I need to be on this. So at the time when I had the first, when that call happened, I was 45. And I just thought, right, this is it. You're going to do this. I realized that rent to rent was my thing. And I was in Bristol working, and I would go across to Newport on weekends and do the viewings.
Yeah.
And I thought it would take a long time to get the first property because at the end of the day, we were beginners. Yeah. And, but one of the early properties that we viewed, we got. And it was two properties from one landlord, and I was at work in Bristol, and I had my phone on silent, and my phone went, and I was sort of throwing it up in the air, trying to keep my nerves together, and running out of the communal area to take this call, and the call was from the letting agent saying that the landlord wants to go ahead. And I could not believe it. I literally couldn't believe we've got these two properties. I was absolutely ecstatic. I was terrified. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to do. And that was the point. That was in July 2016.
Yeah.
And I was offered an extension on my contract. So that would have been the sensible thing to do. Extend the contract, get a little bit more cushion behind you. Yeah. But I just thought, I can't concentrate. I can't think about anything else. We've got these two properties to turn around. How am I going to work in Newport, which is about an hour away? I thought I just need to move to Newport and get on with it. And my idea was live on savings. Eventually, the business will be able to give us a little bit, and then more and more and more over time. but Newport's a low cost of living. I moved into one of these 2 HMOs until we got them refurbed and tenanted. Then I found my own place. But it was all very quick, and I jumped in because my idea was, if it doesn't work out, I can find another contract. For work.
Wow. So you jumped in straight away. So that takes quite a bit of mindset shift in a way, isn't it? Because this is where fear grips a lot of people, because you're taking yourself away from the safety of a guaranteed income into something that you're believing that it could work. But that's essentially, if you look at people who are successful like yourself, it takes a different kind of mentality or mindset, actually, because the mindset of someone who is an employee and someone who is taking risks as a business person or investor is completely different, and you can't sort of expect to get the results of an investor with the mindset of an employee. But making that shift can be quite scary for you. So I guess, is there any, apart from the fact that you seem to be quite passionate, you had found something that was engaging you over the time, that you're really going to go for it, and that is one of the key things as well. When you're doing something that you're passionate about, you almost don't need that motivation to actually do it. You just do it. Almost everything else about the fear and everything, you just block out, and you just go for it. So for people who maybe are in a zone when they are clear, maybe they want that, but they are not yet or ready to actually take the risk or the jump because they are so scared to lose the guaranteed income, what would you say to those people as to what can they do, what should they do?
I think be more scared of not doing it. I was scared about the life that I was going to have if I didn't do it, because I realized that I would be tied to maybe not that job, but a contract role that required me to be at a certain place at a certain time for the rest of my working life, unless I made some sort of change to bring in income that comes in when I don't go to work.
Yeah.
So I knew I got that clarity, and I realized that there's fear on both sides. So I built up the level of fear about staying where I was. And I also had fear about moving to a new place. But the fear of staying where I was so strong. I had that fire in my belly, and I just kept thinking back to that moment with Mum, and being the person I want to be, and being not just the family I want to be, but living the values I want to live. And I just knew that if there are things that you kind of know that you should do, and I just knew in all my being that I should do this. Not necessarily this specific strategy, but I knew that I had to do this. And so I was quite prepared to go into it, fail at it, and go back and get another contract and maybe try something else. But I think the secret to it is to ask yourself better questions. Because your brain really helps you. There's so much power in your brain that you don't even know about. And when you ask better questions, usually you're busy asking yourself questions like I used to do. Well, what about if it doesn't work? What about if it fails? I haven't got any experience for this. That's not a question, but what do you know? And you failed at other things. And then your brain looks for all the evidence that you failed before in 1982, when look what happened when you did this. Your brain's going to come out, it's going to find all of the evidence to support all these negative thoughts. But when you ask yourself, what if I could buy a property? What if I could make money from property I don't own? How are other people doing this? Who could help me with this? Who's done this before? What books are there on this topic? What trainings? How could I learn? Because that was another big thing. I didn't even realize this was a thought until I started going into business, but I thought that business success is not for people like me. That was one of the thoughts that I uncovered. And what I realized is it's because I didn't have that knowledge. So I didn't have that knowledge. But this was like a light bulb moment when, oh, no one has the knowledge until they get it. No one has the knowledge at the start. They develop the knowledge on the way. So when you start off at the bottom of the mountain and you look to the top of the mountain, you see all the people at the top of the mountain, you say, oh, I haven't got what they've got. I haven't got the knowledge to get where they've gone. But they only got the knowledge to get where they've gone on the way up the mountain. And there's all sorts of obstacles that you've got to overcome on the way up the mountain. You don't know what your specific obstacles will be, because every person who climbs to the top of the mountain has different obstacles. And there might be a similar theme to the obstacles, and that's why there are systems for success. But you've got to overcome your own obstacles, and you only do it on the way up. You can't just stand at the bottom and wish yourself to the top. You can't just stand at the bottom and go there in one step. You have to go up there step by step by step by step. And that's a good thing, because it's easy to take the right step that's right next in front of you, but it's not easy to picture yourself at the top of the mountain. And the secret to success that I found is that you have to do both. You have to take the next step that's right in front of you and picture yourself at the top of the mountain. The picturing yourself at the top of the mountain is harder because you have to override your brain, which is telling you you've had no experience. Your brain's looking to the past. You've never been up a mountain like this before. You don't know. You haven't got what it takes for these other. I wish you would stay safe. This mountain is dangerous. Get back in the cave. We just need. Your brain is set up for survival. It's not set up for success. And so, if you want to be successful, you just got to say it's normal that I'm going to have all these thoughts, but take the very next step in front of you and think about yourself at the top of the mountain.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, that's quite a golden nugget you're sharing there, Stephanie. Because like you say, we are always, the brain is always trying to keep us in our comfort zone. But when you study how the subconscious works and how it actually delivers you the results, it's that you will have maybe a sort of intuition of something that you can achieve, but you don't know the how as yet. And because you don't know the how, you become uncertain. You don't have that faith. And if you just have that faith that you can achieve it, the subconscious somehow has got a way of finding the right people, the right places, the right connections to actually deliver it for you. And one of the dilemmas people find is that, when you're in the corporate structure, like, a 9-to-5 job, you're dedicating your time and also your, maybe your thinking and all your mind to that, to the extent that you don't have the time and also the intuition to identify opportunities that are outside that can actually help you on your journey. So it's almost like a catch-22 situation. But you do find that, like when you make that jump, all of a sudden you're thinking and actually observing things you never thought they were there, or you couldn't have identified when you're in the previous situation, because now you've freed yourself to those opportunities. And if you, I remember reading this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It discusses the goddess of good luck. There's like luck really exists, or is it just the preparedness, like you've put it, that you maybe study the right things, you get the knowledge on the way. As you build that up, it enables you to identify the opportunities that will actually get there. So that's an absolute great share, Stephanie, around that. So, and then what would you say is, has been the power of, have there been, on your journey, people that you've called out as either mentors who have helped you on the way, and also the power of, mindset shift in your journey? What would you say to that?